Hello friends, we're back with another POV, this of the Mazda CX30. This is the Aero Edition, a new trim for 2026 that includes things like, hey, look, it's suede on the dash. You can like draw things, you can be a detailer, you can decide to, I don't know, that's what that's for. So it's got that, it's also got this lighter interior that you can see, which is actually pretty nice.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive.
Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
So it's the lighter interior. We've got a sunroof, of course. It's this suede on the dash. Otherwise, it's the Mazda CX30. We have driven this in turbo. We've driven this in non-turbo, and I am back in the non-turbo. That means I'm dealing with the 2.5 liter non-turbo 4-cylinder, 186 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque according to Mazda on all fuels. So that is as floorboarded as I can get it. That's uphill at altitude, so not a lot going on there for power, but also not like unacceptable. We are dealing with Mazda, who does a decent job with their tuning, of course. This is an actual 6-speed automatic, which I do appreciate it being an automatic instead of being a CVT, so that's also a bonus. Mazda is one of our standout brands. We like pretty much everything Mazda does, and when this CX30 came out, we were quite confused because we were unaware when they first released it. They had not revealed yet that they were coming out with a whole CX lineup. The 30, the 50, the 70, the 90, they are slowly working their way to all of their SUVs having a CX and a 10 designation, even though the CX5 soldiers on with a single number. This CX30 exists, of course, as we've talked before, between the CX3 and the CX5. You have the CX30. Confusing, but here we are. This is also built on the chassis of the Mazda 3, which is one of the things I've talked about before as being both a blessing and a curse for this. Because the Mazda 3 is fundamentally a vehicle that we like, it has a good chassis, it has good dynamics. This has the G-vectoring control, it has the same torsion beam rear end, it has similar engines. I mean, this is essentially the SUV jacked up version of the Mazda 3, which is a vehicle we like quite a bit. The struggle I have is why you'd get this over the Mazda 3. I've mentioned that before, but let's talk small subcompact SUVs because that's the actual market for this. So is this working in its market against its competitors? That's things like the Kia Seltos, which we've driven, the Kia Niro, which we've driven, the Buick Envista, which we've driven, also the updated Volkswagen Taos. All of those work in this area, competing directly with this subcompact SUV from Mazda. So how did they do? And they did fine. That's actually my problem with this, is they did fine. I expect Mazda to be a standout, especially in dynamics. I expect Mazda to be a place that I just really want to be and drive. And this is competitive, but it is in no way standout. And that is actually the downside. I mean, the one benefit of it is, yes, okay, here's a car company that actually puts a real transmission in all their vehicles, and I greatly appreciate that. And I'd much rather a real transmission than a CVT. So in that regard, it's a victory. But this is a $33,000 car out the door, and it's the middle of the model range. You can get a CX30 that starts, their actual upper trim starts at 38 grand and goes up. At that point, you should just be buying a bigger, more expensive car. You shouldn't be buying a loaded CX30. That makes no sense at all. At $33,000, that's about the same price as the new Taos. It's more expensive than the Buick Envista. So I'm going to actually talk about it in comparison to those two things. A few things to discuss here. First off, yes, it has, smart cruise control with lane keep assist. It has those kind of things. It also has a sport mode. All that you can tell for the sport mode is that little tiny sport light comes on the dash. It has the torsion beam rear end. It feels soft. It actually wallows a little bit on its suspension in its handling, and that makes me wish I was in the lower Mazda 3 hatchback. I would enjoy driving that more. But as an SUV, it's fine. It is every bit as agile, I would say a little bit more agile than the Taos. Similar in many ways to the Buick Envista as far as that is concerned. This is about a 3,400 pound vehicle, so for these it is on the lighter end. It's 3,400 pounds depending on spec. The turbo engine is the better engine. It is the more interesting engine in this chassis. That doesn't mean this is necessarily underpowered for the normal stuff you do. Having a turbo motor, especially at altitude, is a little bit of a help, but I come away feeling like this is enough power, but I'm not compelled by the power, I'm not compelled by the handling. This has tiny little 215 millimeter wide tires, so I mean that is a thin tire for a modern car because it's not a sports car. I want Mazda to be a standout in every area, and generally they do very, very well. And typically the thing that they do that nobody else figures out is how to make a car in any part of the market. Any vehicle they make is more interesting to drive than the competition, and that's just not true here. It's not bad. I want you to clearly understand that it's not bad. And in typical Mazda fashion, for 33 grand, you feel like you got kind of a good, decent to drive quasi-luxury car. But what features do you want? This screen, this is the old interior for Mazdas. This screen at a distance here is supposed to be worked with the hockey puck. You can actually touch it, which is nice. It is a touch screen. It does respond because we're all conditioned to needing a touch screen. But you notice I had to lean forward to get to that because Mazda put it out of the way on purpose. Now they brought them forward. They've just decided to cave. They put a new big screen in the CX-5, which we haven't driven yet. I do prefer having buttons and knobs. Mazda is caving, going away from it right at the time when the market is talking about, hey, maybe buttons and knobs are cool. How will that shake out? I don't know. Gas mileage on this is about low 30s combined, 31, 32 combined. That is similar. The Taos and the Invista, all of these are kind of right on top of each other. The reality is this is small. The biggest struggle I have with it is in this subcompact area for similar prices, the competitors are bigger. The Invista has more room in the backseat. The Taos has significantly more room in the backseat. The Taos, interestingly enough, is an interesting comparison here because it's built on the Golf chassis, which has tons of rear seat space. This is built on the Mazda 3 chassis, which has less rear seat space than the Golf, but more than this. So something about lifting this up on its suspension has actually given it less interior space in the rear. This is supposed to be a family do-it-all, and it's just not enough space for the back, I don't think. I think you're going to want to step up, and in the mid $30,000 range can step up to the CX-5 and get more for your money. You could even step up into the CX-50, do either one of those Mazda competitors depending on what you prefer for space and styling, and I think you're going to be happier. Similar engine choices in both of those. I think Mazda has outdone itself with other cars in the lineup. Now, we said the exact same thing about the Taos, where we said just spend the money and get the Tiguan. These subcompact vehicles are a struggle for me, for us in general, because I think you can generally get a better vehicle for the same money than you can a subcompact SUV. So, reviewing. This is a perfectly acceptable entry into this market. There's nothing about it that makes me say, get the Mazda. The Buick has as much tech as this, a little bit more space, different styling. The Taos is the exact same. The Taos has significantly more rear seat space and actually is a little bit quieter on the road, even though this isn't bad. But the Taos actually worried about sound deadening and those kind of things more than this did. I struggle with a mid $30,000 price tag without having more luxury or more space. Mazda typically surprises us with both. This is right down the middle. So I'm disappointed only because it's a Mazda. It is very competitive in this market. I would recommend you get either the actual Mazda 3 sedan, or I actually personally like the hatch. The turbo hatchback Mazda 3 is an excellent vehicle for only a few thousand more than this, even if you load it out. So that's something to think about. Or if you have to do SUV, get the new CX-5 or the CX-50 if you prefer this interior styling, which I actually do like. That is the other place to go. The light interior and the light exterior, those are things that come with the Aero package. The new Aero package also has these black badges, black mirrors, those kind of things. That's part of that package as well. That is the mid-grade. This at $33,000 is the dead middle of the lineup. You can make these 40 grand, and that is way, way too much for the CX-30. That's my big takeaway. I want this to wow me, and it is utterly fine. So I know that sounds probably like more of a downer than I want it to be. Look, this is good handling through this through this big turn here, because honestly, most cars, you can really feel body roll there. That feels okay. It feels right down the middle. The torsion beam rear end is still not something I like. I wish Mazda hadn't done it, but they've tuned all of them very, very well. This has the G-vectoring, as I mentioned, which works with the limited slip differential on this, and that's brake vectoring, so that is the way that you help with better turn-in. Mazda's done that very well. Also, all of the best of Mazda's tech is worked its way into this. I just think Mazda has made better vehicles elsewhere, and I don't necessarily think that this is better than either the Envista or the Taos. It's just different. What are your preferences? And I want Mazda to be more than different. I want Mazda to be the winner, because generally they are better than the competition. And here they are. They checked the boxes well. They have done the exact market brief. I'm just not wowed. That's what I can think. There's the Mazda CX30. Thanks for joining us on another POV, and we'll be back to another dual review soon.